Iran should be erased off the map, but that's something that you will hear on the news. Like I said, I'm 42, my entire lifetime. If you were from somewhere else, you would think every American wants Iran erased off the map. It's absolutely not true. So making some stupid ass argument about hearing the Ayatollah say death to America, like, to me, that just doesn't make any sense. But to address what you just said real quick, Haitian, we gassed Saddam Hussein up to invade Iran in the 80s. After the revolution, we told them, we lied to them that Iran was weak. Now's the time to pounce. We funded him, gassed him up, and sent him in there to get his ass kicked. So, like, that was what we did to them. Like, if we want to talk about who has proxies, who's funding what, like, we are the proxy kings. Like, that shit is over there because we are the original proxy. Like, we set up all the original proxies in the Middle East when we knocked over Iran in the first place for British Petroleum in the UK. Like, so we could talk about, like, who did what first and this and that. Like, okay, that's a stupid circular conversation that we could get in. What's happening right now is you have an attack from Israel on Iran's nuclear facilities, and the pretext is from Benjamin Milikowski. This nigga's name is not Netanyahu, okay? He's an Eastern European, okay? Ever since 95, damn near my whole life, as long as I can remember seeing news, they've been 2-3 months away from getting a nuke. My whole fucking life, this dude has come on the news at least 20 times over the past 35 years talking about they're 2-3 weeks away from getting a nuke. And we've already been through this. Like, we went through this in Iraq. WMDs. Do you want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud over New York? All this fucking rhetoric. We went through this, and I thought we'd healed from this. I mean, the Republicans are now, they consider themselves an anti-war party. If you had to ask Republicans 3 weeks ago what they thought about a war with Iran, their number one line was, like, America first, we're done fighting other people's wars. Tulsi Gabbard, 10 weeks ago, no nuclear program. The intelligence community agrees. No nuclear program whatsoever. And now here we are, like, literally discussing, should Iran be able to have a nuke? Like this is like an educated conversation that we're having with each other. Like, should we allow them to have a nuke? Like, come on, like, how gullible are we? Like, how stupid are we? And then when you look at Iran and how they've conducted themselves over the last 40 years, I see no more of a rational, calculated actor in the Middle East than the way Iran has acted. I mean, you would think that they couldn't even touch Israel the way after Soleimani got bombed. And back in October, when they sent over a few drones and, like, you know, I think they hit a military base or something. They might have landed like 10 hits in all of Israel. You would have thought they couldn't even empty out the city of Haifa like they've just done. Like, they are raining hell down on Israel. These people have been acting in a cold, like a calculated, very thoughtful manner. These people aren't fanatics. But let these, like that dude who's trying to get us hyped up on the Ayatollah chant, death to America, let people like him tell it. These people who have been acting like the most rational people in the Middle East, let them tell it. They get a nuke. The first thing they're doing is sending a nuclear bomb to Israel to wipe it off the map so they can enjoy mutually assured destruction and have their entire society wiped out. We're supposed to believe they're Islamic radical fundamentalists and crazy fucking nut jobs, but we don't see them acting like that. And we're supposed to go to war to prevent these radical fucking fanatics from getting a bomb because, like I said, let people tell it as soon as they get a bomb, the world is over and shit. Like, this shit makes no sense. And if anybody's awake, they'll know that this is all just bullshit propaganda designed to get your head up in a blender. But all you have to do is have your fucking eyes open and have been paying attention for the last 20-some years to know this is all bullshit. Milikowski is trying to get us into his bullshit because he's got a death penchant for wiping Iran off the face of the earth. That's all it is.
Yeah. Can I can I respond to that? No, not respond to actually. To be honest, to add on to what Sydney said. Sydney, I agree with most of the points that you made. Okay, I mean almost all the points that you made. So here's the solution that I think should resolve all the problems. So it's whatever you say, whatever we talk about. It was Israel that attacked Iran on the 13th of this month. Okay, it could have waited for 3 days for the last round of negotiations to take place from the 16th onwards, but it did not wait. Milokoski had to do this war for his own survival, like you said, and he did. So what's the way forward? The way forward, in my opinion, is not more and more American sons and daughters dying for Israel. American children have died enough number of times, in enough more than required number of times for Israel. And Americans have spent enough money for Israel. I think it needs to stop because as long as a country, why don't other countries go to wars? You know, that's because war costs money. And Israel doesn't have to worry about money. Israelis don't have to worry about their taxpayers going for tax money going for war. They don't have to worry about it because you Americans take care of them, take care of their wars, their bombs. So they don't have to worry about it. The day Israelis have to worry about their tax money going for war and they do not have medical aid, free education, that's the day wars started by Iran, Israel will stop.
Amen. And we need that to happen ASAP. From now going forward, any congressperson that supports Israel, I'm not voting for them. I don't give a shit.
Trump, you voted for Trump. Trump supports Israel. What are you talking about school?
From now, Odie, from now going forward, any person that supports Israel, I know. Hey, Odie, I just said from now going forward, right? From now going forward, any person, any congressman, any senator, any state, I don't care what level, supports Israel, I'm not voting for them. I need people to be American.
Hold on, don't be.
I am over it.
People told you about Trump's support for Israel. Miriam Alderson, the Jewish, you could hear that
this sounds really fake.
Most of the people that were supporting Trump were on that side, but you still voted for him. You're just a hypocrite. Don't come and tell me anything.
No, not because I'm a hypocrite. No. Because majority of MAGA voters, people who voted for this Make American Great movement, voted for Trump under the pretense that Trump was going to put America first. No, he's putting Israel first.
So just a quick one. Don't be, aka.
Did you vote for Trump?
You voted for Trump. Don't be. Are you trying to be disingenuous
here?
Leave my friend alone. Wait a minute, what's going on?
Sorry,
don't do that.
That was my own personal response to somebody who voted for Trump. That's it. It has nothing to do with nobody on the stage at all.
Sorry, Lisa.
Okay, that's your friend? Okay.
It's my Cameroonian brother. I have to sympathize.
You'll love Dawn, Lisa.
Oh, I love him? Nigga, we some parks around here.
School, my friend. I'm Christian. School. You know what makes me laugh is that we had this argument, me and you. I was not in the room because we had this argument about Trump and Israel, and you turned a blind eye. You claimed, no, it's not going to happen. And I was listing the names of Jewish billionaires that were supporting. You know how much Miriam Alderson gave Trump to school? Do you know how much she gave Trump? One person. Do you know how much she gave Trump? $100 million. And she said that she wants West Bank. So please don't come here and pretend. Thank you. God bless.
Hold on. I have a question for you. Iran, the war against Iran, it's good for American people or not? One question, just simple question. Just give me an answer.
It's not good for American
the population, not for, no, I'm talking about the American population. It's good for American population.
It's not good for
Trump go to strike.
There is no war that's good for any population. I don't know what war is good for anyone.
No, I just want to hear the answer from Odion because it looks like people, you vote for Trump to finish the war. But basically, as how we see that there is a wing that take Trump to war, and the MAGA, in some kind of how, they try to adopt it. But the current is too strong. We are against fucking war. So I'm asking all you, is a war, if Trump, he go in war against Iran, it's good for the American people or no? It's a simple question. I want to hear the answer.
I mean, I don't support Trump, so I don't know why you're asking me that question.
But war is good for your economy. This is the thing in that the country, United States the whole economy of the country is based on wars. So basically, when war happens outside your country, your economy runs. So technically, you guys should support this. But as a human, you guys shouldn't. So that's kind of a paradox living you guys have there.
No, Castro, United States and Israel's economy are dependent on the weapons industry. You are right. But not every country is like that. There are countries that have built their economies on things other than weapons, okay? But one thing I disagree with you, just because wars happen, they do not help all the populations of United States. Okay, the oligarchs, the people who control the bourses, they make money. Okay, the ordinary folks do not benefit from it.
Yeah, let me say this on that. Let me say this on the response to war is good for your economy. You should support war, bro. What's good for your economy is doing justice by people and ingenuity and studying and learning and figuring out ways to be creative and look out for the people and best practices, bro. Miss me with this concept. War is good for your economy. If that ain't a devil talking, I don't know what that is. That idea, that concept, war is good for your economy because you can build more weapons than McDonnell Douglas and Boeing, and you can be hiring employees. And, bro, that divisive mindset, destruction, subtraction, miss me with that, bro. What's good for your economy is doing the right thing by people. How about that? Justice. And there's plenty to go around, and there's land that's not even being utilized yet. And there's all kind of opportunities, and you can spread out. You don't have to all just be packed in one little bitty area. What's good for your economy is do the right thing, bro. I know that's a foreign concept to some people, especially looking at events over the last how many thousand years. But believe it or not, we're going to get to that point where it's going to be good for your economy not to be having people wanting to kill your ass because you're doing unjust things. That's not good for your economy, bro.
So
but statistically, they recently have asked the Americans that it was a survey that they asked the Americans about the invasion to Iran, and apparently 60% of the Americans actually they agreed that they should attack Iran.
Well, nobody I know got that survey. Nobody I know got that survey. So let's take into consideration. I don't know how many people were in that survey, bro. So there's 300 million people. How many people were in that survey?
I don't know, but this was from an official, source that should came out.
Okay.
Anyway, if this is not the case, now here's the thing. This is what I don't get here. If this is not the case, then why does not the people of America uprise against their government?
Because the politics of America is very complicated, bro, and there's a lot of BS that goes on in America. Believe it.
I know it's complicated, but normal.
I know you want a quick answer. A one-sentence answer. Electoral college. There's a lot we could talk about, bro, about whose voices get heard and, old boy networks and secret society. There's a lot of shit we could cover, but that's a long answer, believe it or not.
So,
the MAGA has been infiltrated by ABAC.
Okay, so
it's a question for everybody in the room. The MAGA is being infiltrated by the ABAC, the Zionist.
Can you use this like one talk at a time?
I'm trying. War's not good for your economy when it's on your grounds and you're in the middle of it. A couple of things. One, taxpayers' dollars don't go to Israel for weapons.
America and Israel have some sort of negotiation where they buy weapons from America. Those are not America's taxpayers' dollars going to Israel. And two, the Israel doesn't make its own weapons; it makes cybersecurity software mostly and various other software. So it's more of a software industry and not a hardware industry where um, America's military industrial companies are hardware companies. So I think actually a lot of countries in the Middle East are throughout the world to buy weapons from America, including Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, and a few other places. So and those get shipped on the black market and they get sent to various other places. So I guess if you want America to stop selling weapons to Israel, they should stop.
So, just to correct the record, if we're talking about the largest recipients of aid, foreign aid in America, that is Israel, it's about $380 billion a year, right? Half of that is military alone. So, it's been that way for about 30 years. Yeah, and it's been that way because we've been invested. We've been invested in that. You're right.
Yeah.
It has been that way, so we haven't tried a whole different approach yet. Certain people don't have an idea to know how to build an economy on doing the right thing. You're right. But others have a real strong understanding of that it doesn't have to be that way. There's a whole lot of economy. There's a whole lot of distribution. There's a whole lot of space. There's a whole lot that could be created. And many are still holding on to that idea. So when the idea of division runs out of juice and bombing and everybody submits under this one person, when that runs out of juice and it becomes understood, they can never pull that all the way off. There's just going to be this one leader that was the corrupt, that could run through the most, that could just kill off the other ones before they get killed off, even though they didn't start any, even though they just post up. And going back to like my man brought out Sydney, the real lineage of who this man Netanyahu is that's usurped Israel. There's some real good people in Israel that will never get a voice because of Netanyahu. They will never get a chance. Just like in America. You've got the masses. You probably got a 1 percentile, Netanyahu in that boat, for sure, that are actually jacking this whole thing up. And when the 90 percentile, you don't even get a voice if you're in Gaza or certain average everyday person in Iran. What are they going to do? To just fight over there in Israel, push back in America? So this is what's going on. The world is watching people kill themselves off. And a lot of us are getting caught up in it. But really are completely not on that page. And our hands are not all bloodied up. But not like that. Shit, maybe somebody stole some cookies or something like that. But they've never been in a position to actually do this kind of shit. And those individuals should be held accountable. There's a universal government out here, United Nations and this and that, and war crimes. And if you know any bit of history, you know that in the act of doing some of these war crimes, they don't get punished. But as we look back later on, you say, oh, that was some real jacked up stuff right there that they did. And that was clearly understood. So the talking points in the immediacy is one thing. But there's also the understanding that, bro, where is your end game with your devilishment? How about being a better neighbor? You teach that to your people in Israel, don't you, Netanyahu? Be a better person. Be a good neighbor. Have the coffee shop and, just show up. And you can't extend that thought beyond your borders? Or you just want to extend the borders and kill off everything else so you can just spread that the way you want to spread it all over the planet Earth. The rest of the Earth has been at peace a long time, bro. Believe it or not. Even though you may not speak their language, you may not understand their history, they've been at peace and they've been doing some great stuff, Egypt and a lot of people, Ma'at and Kemet, they've been doing some great stuff before you show them. All right, let me. I'm just wanting to throw that in the atmosphere because I hear a lot of it.
So I find
this obsession with Netanyahu to be very interesting. Like he's only one person in the majority of the state of Israel don't like him.
Yeah, he's just some little bitty guy.
Yeah. So people protest people protest him and his government all the time. He's probably not well liked, but he is kind of well trusted in some ways because of his stance on aspects of security, right? Previously, before October 7th. So, I mean, even in current projections, if there were elections soon or now, then he would be out of office. And it would probably be his last term since he's like 75 or 76. So, But I think that people who have never been to Israel don't know anything else about the area or region. Kind of this obsession or weird obsession with some world leader they don't know anything about. It's actually quite bad.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me too that over here in America and watching America getting drawn into something
Israel actually
that's never been over there.
So
That's fascinating to me.
I find this argument so. I mean, and I'm not to say that I think that Americans center themselves too much when it comes to Israel, but there are people that don't need to care about Israel or Iran, can just support Israel based on their own views, and there's nothing wrong. Like the reason why Americans care so much about is the influence of Israel in America, but really, all these ideas that neighbors live in peace is not entirely true. Neighbors don't really live in peace. Neighbors just have deterrence. Right? Neighbors just have deterrence. If you try nonsense, you fight. I mean, the world over, people have fought wars. So this very idea that somehow, a lot of people are so invested in, listen, Iran and Israel can bomb themselves to death. I don't care. Like, I'm indifferent. Like, those people are not part of my problems. I mean, I'm American now, so maybe I should care more, but I'm not interested in Middle Eastern crisis. There's some big boogeyman, there's one control running somewhere. It's not entirely true. People can bring the same information with you. Read more information, and still come to the same old conclusion if they didn't read any information at all. So my point is all this, there's some boogie there are ongoing crises. There's Congo crisis, there's Sudan crisis, there are many crises in Nigeria. 200 people were killed and burnt to death. Let me rephrase that. Were killed and burnt to death. Yeah. Nobody cares.
Well,
nobody's worried.
I'm sure those over there.
We must worry about this. I just think it's just because America is involved. If not, all this, we care about humanity. I'm sorry. It's just that people are just invested because of America is involved. If not.
Well, welcome to America. Welcome to America, and enjoy the peace that's here that a lot of people have fought for. Thank you. Welcome.
So, Odie, I actually brought this up yesterday. People don't really give a shit about liberating the Iranian people from the regime, and when people
One minute, let me just say this. Yeah, I wanted to make that point.
I thought you were done.
Okay, sorry. I have an Iranian colleague. If he has views about, when I say colleague, we work in the same office, I don't speak to her. So I wonder if he has views about Iran, you would think she's Jewish. She's so anti-Khomeini. She wishes the worst for him. I'm like, why? Do you support? Anyway, she has no feelings towards the government of Iran. Now, I said the government of Iran. She despises the government of Iran with a passion. Anyway, more that you can.
So I was gonna say, so here's the thing, right? Everyone knows the Iranian regime kind of sucks, but this whole notion that we're going over there to bring freedom and liberate the Iranian people is this horseshit. Why haven't we attacked earlier if that was the case? And I think when the Jews come on this app and parrot that talking point, it just reeks of bullshit. Like, no one is believing this shit, right? There are plenty of places on the planet that are under shitty regimes that we don't give a fuck about, right? So the logic doesn't make any sense to me. And the second thing I was gonna say, I put this in the chat, but apparently American B-2 bombers have left Missouri and are flying to Guam currently. So it looks like we might actually bomb the fuck out of Iran.
Yeah. So I think that Odie, hold on, let someone who hasn't spoken in 3 hours respond to Odie. I think, Odie, you're completely correct and you recognize the truth. Because you're not American, you recognize the truth. The reason why American leftists are protesting over the situation in the Middle East is specifically because of the leftist agenda. It has nothing to do with humanitarian concerns. And the proof is, in the Congo Civil War, there are two black groups killing each other. More than 1 million people, more than 1 million innocent people have been killed in Africa. Not a single Clubhouse leftist gives a shit. Not a single Clubhouse progressive. The Clubhouse progressive community is 100% in favor of white genocide, and I'll post the link. That's why they're involved in the Mideast. Because in Africa, there's no white people doing the killing. Because no white people are doing the killing, no one on Clubhouse gives a fuck about what's going on in Africa. The goal is not to prevent genocide. The goal is white hatred. I'll post the link to prove it. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get to the rest of the world soon. Sure, I'm sure. As a planet, we'll get to the injustices going on. I appreciate you having such a desire to clear up Africa as well. We know the colonialization of Africa, so that's another conversation later on. The divide and conquer element. But yeah, we're trying to stay focused right now with what's going on in Iran. I'm sorry.
Let me just mention something so important. Did you know that if any country attacks the other country's nuclear facility, it would be violation against the national security resolutions, and this in kind of it's very odd that Israel was exonerated from these laws, like because you're not allowed to attack any nuclear facility because of the danger, like Chernobyl that had happened. So right now, Fordu, as you know, that they have plutonium enrichment sites down there. So if they attack Fordu, the alpha radiation would have emitted, and it would be a lot of danger out there. So basically, what Israel is doing is against the whole national security and the whole national United Nations laws. And it's very funny that they didn't actually condemn Israel by doing that. This is so weird. Like if it was any other country, they would have would have taken less than one day that country would have been attacked, or it would have been condemned. But in this case, we don't see any action from the United Nations or the Europeans or any of them. This is so crazy. So this is actually tells you that how much the world is not real, and it's crazy. It's a crazy place. It's not fair at all. So
I guess Jewish lawyers are better than your lawyers.
Sorry?
Well, we see that Israel state dismantle all the world system, doing genocide in Gaza, starvation, killing.
No, I know about that, but you know about Gaza, but you cannot technically. You cannot attack any nuclear facility in other countries. This is against all the laws that has been, all the resolutions that they had in the United Nations. But we don't see any reaction through the Israelis. This is odd. This is very bizarre.
And people act like this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Is the genocide action? It's worse than attacking nuke facility, but we saw that the world and the world system doesn't have upper hand on Israel. Israel state they basically dismantle all the law, fucking up all the system.
Yeah, so last time they bombed Natanz. So last night they bombed Natanz. Natanz is the second largest, and the dude right now told you guys the B-2 bombers they lift off. They're flying toward Garcia Island from I don't know from where from United States, and these two, I think there's 6 of them, and each one of them can carry about I don't know, a couple of these very big bunker buster bombs, and so I think they're about to invade the Fordu facility. That is the key area that Israel.
Contra, you're exactly right. Like we saw how the world went crazy when that shit happened in Fukushima. Like we know what happened. We know the potential disaster. We know the potential disaster that can come from like these malfunctioning nuclear facilities. So you're exactly right. Like the attack of nuclear facilities is written into the UN chart, not written into the actual charter, but there are international laws against doing that. Nobody seems to give a fuck right now. Another thing that's super interesting is Fordow is projected to be 250 to 300 feet underground. The massive ordnance penetrator, the 30,000 pound bunker buster, that can only go 200 feet. So in order to reach something deeper than 200 feet with it, you have to drop multiple of them on the same spot. So you've got to drill it over and over and over again. So like just the idea of like hitting a nuclear facility on that level, and like nobody's talking about the environmental fallout, like nobody's talking about the danger that poses to the Gulf. Like the Gulf is like a low current area. It's not some like high current area. Like it's a pretty kind of stable, like lakeish, like water system. Like to bomb something on the level that Moab would the damage that those weapons would cause, the amount of fissile and radiation material that would spread throughout the environment and end up in the Gulf for who knows how long that shit would just sit there. Like, this is a massive environmental thing that a massive environmental disaster that like people are calling for. And to me, it's just so fucking ridiculous because, like I said earlier, like we bought into this idea that these people are like radical fundamentalist retards. They can't wait to die and shit. But like I said, like all you have to do is just look at how they've acted over the last 40 years. They have acted like the most rational actor in the Middle East as long as I've been alive. And like I said before, I'll just reiterate it. Before 6-7 days ago, you would have thought like Iran couldn't touch anybody. So like to me, this just adds to the amount of restraint that I feel like these people have because they've been getting hit and they've had their airspace incurred upon. They've been getting struck randomly every year, every other year, damn near as long as I've been alive. And you would have thought that they couldn't touch anybody. And now we see them emptying out Israeli cities. Like, these people have capabilities, and they have been very rational and very calculated in the way that they have responded to any violation of their sovereignty. Furthermore, if you are just a rational actor and you look at what happens when the United States convinces you to dismantle your weapons program, look what happened to Gaddafi in Libya. He agreed to stop pursuing nuclear energy and nuclear weapons. His ass was gone not 10 years later. Like, look at North Korea. As soon as they got a bomb, you hadn't even heard about North Korea in the news. Like, and that's the way you get people to stop fucking with you, is to get a bomb. And if there's anybody that I can see that just wants people to stop fucking with them, it's Iran. So like, that's what you do. You get the bomb and people stop fucking with you. And the crazy thing is that these people aren't even trying to pursue a fucking bomb. Like, the whole world knows it. They've allowed inspectors in. Like, we know what they're doing. We know the capabilities of their program. Like, we know where their enrichment sites are. They don't have a weapons program. Like, we know this shit. But turn on the fucking news for a second, you hear a bunch of nuts talking about we can't afford to let them have a... Somebody posted a poll where most Americans agree that Iran should not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Why the fuck do we think that they shouldn't be able to have a nuclear weapon? If you're not an idiot, you would just be like, anybody who doesn't want to get fucked with anymore should get a nuclear weapon. Like, that's exactly what you should be doing. But here, once again, we've got this rational actor who knows that their pursuit of this weapon will probably bring them more destruction in the short to medium term than they're willing to endure. They don't even have an active nuclear weapons program. Like, I just don't see anybody more rational right now than Iran, and I see these nuts over here in Israel literally trying to drag the world into another world war. It's just so stupid.
Again, Israel is a country of like 7 to 9 million people, and Iran is a country of like 90 million people. And
that's why they shouldn't be poking the bear. That's why they shouldn't be poking the bear.
Do you think that and Israel is currently a country that is at war on 3 other fronts with proxies that are paid for by Iran specifically? So do you think that it's just like Israel like just wanting a
occupied force in lands that it's not them? And this is not me saying Israel is occupying the land.
What are you saying?
This is not me who say it. It's the UN.
What are you saying?
That it's what I'm saying that Israeli forces, they occupied the Palestinian land. They are not legal.
So the same United Nations that had a vote in 1947 and recognized Israel as a state, as well as had a vote for a Palestinian state,
okay,
did not recognize a Palestinian state, is now saying that Israel is a
No. Don't escape. Where do you
No, don't skip. Don't skip.
No, man.
Latin American countries come from the same, but your country is a colonialist state, right? Your state shouldn't exist. In 1947, Israel had a vote for both the state of Israel and for the state of Palestine. The state of Israel was accepted by a majority of states that voted in favor of it, and the state of Palestine was rejected from it, right? Unfortunately, even they rejected it themselves for whatever reason, right? So it could have been that there would have 1948 borders that would have existed for a Palestinian state, and unfortunately that doesn't exist. And also they had the opportunity somewhere between also 1 second on that. Also in 1948 between 1948 and 1967 they also had an opportunity to create a statewide because the Arab countries, Egypt and Jordan, held on to the land that became the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Those territories were in the property of our possession of Egypt and Jordan exclusively. They could have made a state out of those by simply declaring themselves as such. Yeah, they chose not to. Egypt and Jordan also decided not to declare them as such.
They decided to not become radical like we're watching Israel become. They decided to be peaceful partners. They decided to let these people be there with the behest, with the guidance, with Winston Churchill, with England, with the British. They allowed all of that to happen, bro. So don't make them faulty because they didn't operate in a real devilish way. Don't do that, man. That's what you're trying to do, Ron. Let me say it. If you let me talk, I'll
Let him land, please.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, sir. I understand you're vested for whatever reason in that position that you're in. But the facts are that those people over there in 47, 48, there was definitely a pushback in general. And so what history has now taught us is they didn't all unify and say, hey, let's get rid of these bad actors. Let's go ahead. And they didn't do that, man. They gave peace a chance. They gave it the benefit of the doubt. And so here we are in 2025, man. And we're watching, like Sydney brought out, the last 6 countries, these countries that Israel is running through. The world is watching this, man. And you know what they always come back to? Well, hey, we got more power. We're able to do it. And that's been the only real position. Well, we can do it. We're worried about them. We don't want to talk to them. We don't want to do a two-state anything. We don't want to actually be good neighbors. And we're not going to respect them. That history is long and strong. And for you to continue to ignore that all the way to the point now where, again, the world has to just, all these conversations are about one thing, to stop something from happening, that if it happens, it won't be like Hiroshima. Because Japan decided, hey, throw my hands up. Hey, all right, my bad, you beat us to the punch. What you want to do? Come on in, MacArthur. That's not going to be the way this shit plays out, man. It's a different time frame, 2025. That was a whole different thing, atomic energy and so on and so forth. That was at that point. But fast forward, here we are, bro. Here we are now with this real reality of this one earth, man, behind the thoughts of Neptune, well, I don't want to call him that, but Benjamin. What was his name, Sydney? Don't tell you, put it in the chat. Wazowski, whatever. But this one dude, man, of course he's got a lot of backing, but he's the face of it, history will say. Is it just him? Is it just Trump? No. The face of this, though, we can clearly see as our life. They'll be 100 years from now. This thing will still be here some kind of way. I don't know how. I believe in that. I don't have to figure that out. But all I'm saying is they'll look back on this day, and they're going to sit here and question everybody on this stage and everything that was here. Like, there was no power to check them. It's biblical, bro. And so what I'm telling you, though, is those of us that are trying to say, hold up, man, hold the hell up, because once it goes there, unlike voting for Trump or Kamala, it's not going to matter, bro. All that's going to matter is that shit is affecting the planet and it's in motion in ways you can't put back in the bottle. The fact that you would try to argue to promote, let's just go bomb them, let's just go get rid of them, shows who you are in history, in a historical sense. Who you are, man. You're arguing to just set it off.
Are you talking about me directly?
Hold on, relax, bro. Just slow down. Then it doesn't apply to you. But just, it doesn't apply to you, bro. Thank you. And so the reality is, bro, even if, like my man Sydney said, Even if you feel you've been done wrong, Israel, you should not be promoting go bomb the hell out of them, bro. Because if you honestly think all that makes sense is, only thing that makes sense about that argument is this. Well, we don't have any peaceful future on this planet, so America, come on over here and let's shoot this one shot and all of this, and either we're gonna come out victorious and run the whole planet together, me and you, Trump, or if the planet's gonna be jacked up. And if either way, we don't care. It's what we're watching, bro. That's what a planet is watching. Like, we set it off and oh well, just a kinder box and just bam, and it's just fireworks in ways that you can't even imagine. I can't even imagine, but those that understand that. So if you're not vested in peace at all, and it's going to be your way or no way, well then yeah, come on, Trump, help us, back us, man. You got our back, just like Winston Churchill. You got our back. We're just going to keep doing this, man. But meanwhile, the 90 percentile, probably 95 percentile of the earth is like, bro, we're not going to just sit back and watch this, and we know who the exact actors are that are pushing this. That's going to play out, bro. If any of us live to see it, I don't know. But none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow, tonight, 5 hours from now, 10 minutes from now. But Trump might decide to do it. Somebody just, the troops are being deployed or something. Somebody just mentioned something. I didn't catch it all. Doing something. But the point is, bro, once it goes to a certain point, you can't pull it back. That's the whole point, bro. And everybody's going to say it wasn't worth it. However you're trying to rationalize it, it wasn't worth it. And the causation will be, Netanyahu, you set that shit off, bro. Your fear, you're scared, oh, they're going to get this. They hadn't done it, but you went ahead and pushed them like you pushed all them other people around you in Israel, and now you went over there and hit them, and they saying, okay, but we were trying to be real peaceful. We watched what you did to our cousins, and we didn't even come and unload our shit on you like we could have, man. But now you took that kindness for weakness, and now you over here fucking with us, going to try to do the same shit. And the world is saying, bro, it's going to be way more complicated than that.
What troops are being deployed?
Somebody has a mic, please. Two bombers were being deployed.
I heard troops, TROO.
Well, okay, somebody got to fly these planes. I call that troops.
I think you misunderstood.
I just wanted to clarify, so.
Someone said B-2 bombers are going to like Guam, and then someone said they might be going to DRC.
Yeah. I was just arguing that people have to actually.
That's amazing. The answer to your word was the moving of the B-52 or B-2. That's amazing. That's a fucking amazing answer, you know? We do what we want. We have control of the most powerful country in the world and the most powerful army in the world. This is his answer. That's fucking shocking, man. That's fucking shocking, man. I can't believe that. You tell me that you're going to open the box of Pandora with support of the United States and put the United States in another fucking shitty hole that no one knows where it's in. And why? Because of the fucking Israel. Because of the fucking Benjamin Netanyahu that he won't escape from the prison because he's corrupted and we have to keep him in power. How we can keep him in power? He come out and he say, we're gonna fight the Shia. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me, man? What has to do the American people with the fucking Iranian and population? What you know about Iranian people? How many people live in Iran? How many kind of ethnic belief live in Iran? Dismantle Iran. Open the box of Pandora. That's not gonna be peace on this land, never ever anymore. And I don't think that Trump is stupid that much because he went in the Situation Room and he had a meeting with Gorilla, that's how they call him, and he explained to him. We have this country, Saudi Arabia, Emirati Arabi, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait. This family will be exterminated. They will run away because this area will be dismantled. Why? Because Iranian, they will fermentate every American base there. Because moving the B-2, that is strategic bomb, that has to be monitorized. Moving the B-2 and its group to go to the direction of Iran, China, and Russia, they will figure it out. And Iran, they will figure it out. So, fighting against the Houthis, you fucked up. Because they hate Nimitz, they hate Roosevelt, they hate all of this, and in the end, Trump, he want to make peace with the Houthis. That's part of Yemen. That when they done it in the Red Sea, they fucked it up in around all Europe and the world. And now you go to fight with the fucking Iran, man. And you understand that? So we're gonna expecting, because basically the Houthis, with all the video that is being put it under check, it's real. Houthis did the Roosevelt and Nimitz. So now you go to fight it. So we have to expect to see Roosevelt and Nimitz and all the aircraft with 3,000 people fucking die for the fucking Israel motherfucker Netanyahu. Are you fucking kidding me, man? I am shocked of what I'm hearing here. Are you serious? Because this can't stay away from the region because he's corrupted. You have to take all the world to the third world war because China and Russia, they're not going to leave Iran collapse or fall. Why? Because this road in the 4th of May last month, it's arrived the first train from China. And this way, it's going to arrive the railway from China.
Okay, Ash, we got 3 other people that may want. Go ahead, you got. You wanted to say something?
Who are you asking?
Amir.
I just got here, guys, so I would rather just listen.
Okay.
So I can finish.
Oh, by the way, this a war won't keep Netanyahu out of prison, because he's going to trial. He's actively going to trial as we speak, right? So
since 2020.
Even throughout this war, say again.
Since 2020.
Since 2020.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yes, he's actively going to trial in front of the Supreme Court, right? So just because there is a war doesn't mean that it's going to prevent the Supreme Court from adjudicating or from so you can make all the claims that you want to. You can say that, no, you can make all the claims that you because I tried not to speak while you were speaking. No. It's very difficult to
give a reason to don't present.
One mic. Hold on 1 second. It's really hard hearing you guys when everybody is trying to talk at the same time. So please let the person land, and then the next person can go ahead and speak. Go ahead.
Thank you. So just because you believe that he needs a war just to get out of going to jail or being sentenced or whatever, that is not true. And also the courts are not in his favor in Israel. The Supreme Court doesn't necessarily like him, but they are holding the trial as fairly as possible. So whatever crimes he has committed, whatever his judgment is, he's going to look forward to it. And in case most of you do not know, Israel is the only country that I'm aware of in modern history that has sent a leader, a prime minister, or president to prison.
That's not a real good consolation prize, Ron. And we're talking about nuclear war, whether he goes to jail or not, we'll all be in jail. We'll all be in jail. It's like, so whether he actually gets brought to a trial one day, nobody, I didn't cut you off, bro. I was just trying to finish my thought, that's all. Nobody's excited that, oh, wow, at least he went to jail, while the rest of the world deal with nuclear fallout and now what the triggering of things. He's gone. He's off the scene now. But now Iran and the rest of the world and America is very involved in China, whatever else, bro. So I appreciate your insight into that whatever you just said, Israel is, the only one or whatever, and they've arrested. Bro, that sounds good, but you know what, truthfully, to talk about whether he ever gets brought to a court of justice since 2020 or not, and whether he ever sees justice, the planet is concerned, believe it or not, with the planet. And the geopolitics of what he represents with America and the Middle East and oil and nuclear energy and centrifuges and the levels that Iran has a lot of, like someone said in the room earlier, they have a lot of people in America, bro, that are good-hearted people, I'm sure. Or else they would have been arrested by now by Donald Trump or whatever for being whatever. They haven't shown any, a lot of people are upset about a lot of things, but people don't just go off the handle and just be running around shooting folks yet. We're trying to stop that, bro, because people in America are from all over the world. Yeah, they're American, but they're usually Irish American, Middle Eastern American, Africa, the country.
He was talking about him going to court, babe.
I know, but I know he was, and I get it, and I was just trying to say, he bringing that into the conversation while we're talking about whether he's going to get justice in a court or not. But
hopefully he does, but he's been using the war as a way to push back. He just started the freaking process.
Yeah, he eliminated
every year that he's been.
But it probably won't happen in the next 2 weeks, is all I'm saying. I don't think he's going to get brought up and go to jail in the next week or two.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. It's been 5 years and they're just going the cross-examination. It's crazy.
He eliminated the head of the Just a second, man. Let me say something. He eliminated Netanyahu. He eliminated the head of Shabak because he asked the Shabak to give him a reason to don't present in front of the court. And Shabak, they say no. So he eliminated the head of Shabak. And the head of Shabak, you have your phone, just go and search. The head of Shabak now is in interrogation that why Netanyahu is trying to using his dictatorship way to keep everything under his control, only his control. He controls Shabak, he controls the CIA, Shabak is part of CIA, he controls everything. And he doesn't want to present in front of the court. Why? Because there is national security. That when the Shabak they say we're not going to support that, he eliminated the head of Shabak.
Shabak is the equivalent of the FBI, and he tried to terminate the position, but from Ronan Bar. But Ronan Bar, he went to the courts, and the court said that it was unjust, and he couldn't just fire him whenever he chose to. So he tried to also do the same thing with the Attorney General. Yes, Netanyahu is similar to Trump. He wants people to be absolutely loyal to him. However, fortunately for the state of Israel, right, the courts still have a lot of power and control over how the government is run.
So I can have an actual fact.
So we're going to see Netanyahu in a court?
And because of that, thank you very much, the court is able to order him to create order where he has created chaos in the government and administration. Thank you.
In the next 2 weeks, the head of Shabak. Can somebody spell Shabak? Because I'm not sure how to spell it, so I can.
Shabak is an acronym, and I'll put it in the chat for you.
I appreciate that, Ron.
I don't know why you care, because you are not.
You don't know a lot about why I care about a lot of things, bro. But you just play your cards out. Don't worry about me. We're just having a conversation in here. Okay. All right? We got other problems to worry about, not me.
You mentioned something else about fallout and all of this stuff. I think the point of the matter is that the prevention of a nuclear war, right? Now, fine, people will say that they don't believe that Iran had any intention of creating nuclear weapons. I don't know. All I know is that we have a report, we have some intelligence coming from the American intelligence community, we have a president who's kind of rogue right now, Trump, and we also have some intelligence coming from a few other places. And those people know more than what the media is supposed to know or does know.
Every country with nuclear abilities and warheads knows that it tells any other country, we will destroy your ass if you mess with us. I guarantee you China feels that way. Hold on, bro. Hold on for a minute. Hold on, China feels that way. I promise you Russia feels that way.
Come on, y'all.
So all I'm saying is that, bro, so, again, them getting the ability to have all of that is not the issue, man. That scares Israel. But there's a lot of countries that have nuclear abilities, and they ain't running around with it just destroying folks. So only when they're provoked, and I'm looking for Shabak. If somebody else, Ron may never put it in there because he doesn't understand why I want to research the facts about the head of Shabak has been, removed. I want to look into the facts that whatever that is, but I can't spell it. That's one thing. But back to what I'm saying, bro. So the fact, no, one second, bro. Let me finish my one. No, I'm not giving you the permission to cut me off.
Okay, one mic.
So I'm gonna give y'all permission to both stay on mute. I think Dr. David had his hand up for a while. Nobody been able to bring him up. So go ahead, Dr. David. You want?
Yeah. So just in context here, this war, hot war, started back in April of 2024 when Joe Biden was in office. The Iran and Israel have been trading salvos for a while. It first started with Israel destroying the Iranian consulate, which is the hot war. They said was in response to the proxies that Iran was funding, and then they basically just started shooting at each other. Then they did it again in October, and then the incoming president sent out an envoy to get them to all stop, and they stopped. And then they agreed to stop for a period of 6 months or so after he took office. And then as that time expired, Israel has began their restarted their campaign that they wanted to do from way back from last year. So I think people are falsely attributing the conflict that's ongoing right now with the current administration as if this wasn't going on back in April of 2024. This administration is now trying to put out that fire that had long been ignited when they weren't even in office. First off. Secondly, in putting out that fire, they are dealing with an uphill battle. The Israeli lobby controls most of the seats in Congress. For example, if you look at the New York Congressman, whether it's his name Bowman or whoever his name is, in the Bronx, who was against the Israeli lobby, he lost his seat. They do this all across the country. They fund candidates to remove members of Congress that are hostile to them, and they have succeeded in controlling most of the seats in Congress, which means most of the people in the U.S. Congress have allegiance to the Israeli lobby, which has full allegiance to Netanyahu and the leadership of Israel. So therefore, most of the government is going to be pro-Israel and give them whatever it is they want. And this may not even be in the best interest of Israel to be giving them everything they want. So if Netanyahu says this is what we need, the Israeli lobby says no problem. We're going to force the U.S. Politicians on our payroll to support it. So to kind of be hostile to their agenda is very difficult position for a U.S. congressperson. They're likely to lose their seat, just like Jamal Bowman lost his seat. And then for President Trump in his position, while his philosophy being peace through strength, it's very unclear where he stands at this point. I'm speculating here. I listen to Professor Mearsheimer a lot on this. I listen to a number of folks. It's unclear where he stands on this. Some people are saying that he's already decided to join the attack. Some people are saying that he's putting out rhetoric, like he has done in the past, to force a concession from Iran, basically with the threat of force. And if the threat is credible enough, they'll make a concession in line with what could be considered acceptable, and they can have peace. So I agree with people that are saying that this is kind of like anti-MAGA, but the position that is people have to understand is this conflict, just like the Russia-Ukraine war, was ongoing when this administration came in. Their now job is to put out the fire in the Russia-Ukraine war and then put out the fire with this Iran war, which was already going before they came in. And they succeeded in 6 months of peace started. But Israel was already foaming at the mouth to do what they're doing now. And it's hard to stop them when they have full control of almost every congressperson, with a few exceptions in the U.S. and senator too.
Crisis, you were trying to hold on one second. Crisis, you were trying to speak. Go ahead, Crisis.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep it real simple. So Dr. David made a very valid point when he talked about this being something that has been spawning since before the current administration. I just want to point out something real quick. For those of you who remember who Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was a 12er, and if I'm not mistaken, the majority of the people in the council that run Iran are also 12ers. If you understand what being a 12er means, then you'll understand what their concept is of where the 12th Imam would come on the stage or on the world stage, and what needs to happen in order for him to come on the world stage. In the chat, I just put a link to a video of a conversation between Benjamin Netanyahu and some of the elder rabbis in the 90s, where they're basically saying the same thing to him, because in order for their Messiah to come back, the world also has to be in turmoil in order for their Messiah to come back. And you see this rabbi telling him in the 90s that he's going to be the one that's going to be leading the country at the time when their Messiah comes back. But more importantly, is he's asking him to hasten that return. So when you understand what it takes for that return to happen, and you see that his elder rabbis are asking him to hasten that return, what you're seeing right now is really an exchange between two people who have similar understanding of when the 12th Imam or the Messiah for the Jewish people is supposed to come back, and basically creating the situation for either or to be able to come on stage. And I'll land with that.
This 12er concept, is it in that video? Did they mention 12er?
No, in this particular video, this is the one about Benjamin Netanyahu, but I can find you the one for Ahmadinejad, because Ahmadinejad, when he was the leader of Iran, or the prime minister of Iran, he was not very shy about his beliefs. He was absolutely not shy about his beliefs.
He was the president. He was the president of Iran.
No, that's right. I just wanted to know about the 12er, and I know about the Mahdi and the Messiah and all this stuff, but I wanted to get a little more.
Yeah, the concept of the 12ers. The 12ers are, it depends on who you talk to, because some people will say that they're more radical. Some people will say that they're following Shia Islam, but the concept is that the 12th Mahdi can't come back until the world is in turmoil or chaos. The same thing for the Moshiach on the Jewish side. So from the 90s, they're asking Benjamin Netanyahu to hasten the return of the Moshiach. And when Ahmadinejad was president of Iran, he openly said that he was trying to bring the 12th Imam back. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where, for us on the sideline, looking at it from a political standpoint, we're being pulled into a situation that even when we try to make sense of it from a political edge, it's even beyond that, which is what makes these conversations so difficult, because we're trying to look at it from one lens, but the people on the ground are not even looking at it from that lens. And I'll land with that.
So I kind of agree with Crisis. Some of this is also messianic, but it's mostly messianic from the 12er perspective, because according to, there are different opinions in Judaism, but there's supposed to be chaos, but you can't hasten the idea of the Messiah by creating chaos. However, this 12er notion, if anybody can look it up, you can go and yes, Dr. David, or whoever wrote that, the evangelicals created this concept, and this sort of got incepted and imposed by people that that's what Judaism believes. But this 12er concept is something that is that the Ayatollah and Ahmadinejad, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the previous president, fully believes. And it's an aspect. There are several Muslims on the stage, so I'm sure we can ask any of them if they would be honest about it, that they have to destroy Israel in order for the 12th Imam to emerge.
Since we're bringing in evangelical and scriptures into the conversation, Israel, the idea is not that they would find a land and put themselves in there. God would put them in a land. Back to that thought, 1947, and the British and with Churchill and all of this stuff, this whole idea, that right there is totally contrary to scripture, by the way, because the idea is that they would be placed in a land, that God would put them in a land. It sure wouldn't be Winston Churchill or who the hell ever in the Britain.
But that's the thing that you don't understand is that the early Zionists, right? All of these people are quote unquote secular. They weren't trying to fulfill some sort of messianic reality.
Well, it can happen both ways, though, Ron.
Well, let me. So their perspective was, if you read like the entire breadth of literature and see who these people are, their issue was that they were being attacked, having pogroms or whatever in Europe. The Europeans told them to go wherever they came from, so they started a campaign to say, well, we came from. Our ancestry came from Israel,
so
right?
the whole world has to suffer because Hitler said, go back where you came from.
No,
Hitler triggered by Hitler saying, go back where you came from.
No, wait,
Hitler told the European countries, if you love these Jews so much, come take them. And they refused, so they killed them.
Yeah, so then they just plop them back over there amongst these the natives in that land, the Ottoman Empire, and they just plop them in there.
He gave the Americans and the Europeans plenty of opportunity to take the Jews.
Allow me to finish my synopsis. Right?
When you're done, can I go after you?
I'm sure.
I want to add to what you're saying.
So the position that they had was, okay, we live in a world where these nation states are being created. As a matter of fact, they went to the Ottoman Empire. They went to the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire for the purpose of creating a legal case for creating a small state for the Jews to live there. Right during the Ottoman Empire, then World War I happened, and they created a deal with the British Empire to create a state within the land space. They weren't trying to take over all of the land space. They were going to the people that controlled the land. As a matter of fact, they purchased land. They had a fund called the JNF Fund. You can look it up, where they purchased the land from the Ottoman Empire, from the government, and also from the British Empire in order to create a state. And that was the land that was initially declared as the State of Israel.
So brother, before you go too far, one moment, sweet, please. So brother Ron, like, just to add to what you're saying, is it fair to say that we're probably living in an era where this is prophecy manufactured instead of prophecy manifested? Because what you just described and what I just described and the two leaders that we were referring to, we both can agree that their core beliefs don't say that you're supposed to hasten it, but yet they both were told to hasten it. So if you're being told to hasten it, right? So it's like if you're being told to hasten it, but yet your beliefs say that you're not supposed to be hastening it, that would mean you're trying to manufacture prophecy rather than allowing it to manifest.
So that's the issue. I don't, as far as I know, I don't believe that there's any concept in Judaism to hasten to create the conditions for the Messiah to come.
Happened in 1948, bro.
No, the video I put in the chat.
You put it in the chat. What you put in the chat is a video of Netanyahu speaking with, I think, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who's a Hasidic rabbi who has various interesting ideas, and quite honestly, his followers believe that he is the Messiah, right? They believe that he is the Messiah that came. He has a somewhat of a small to medium-sized following amongst the Jews.
You just said Hitler told them to leave, and therefore they go back to your land. You just said that, bro.
That's not what I said.
You said the Europeans told them go back to your land. You said the Europeans told them go back to their land. You didn't say that?
Hitler didn't even exist.
You did say that.
When Theodor Herzl wrote his book, or his manifest about creating a Jewish state, and Hitler wasn't even the chancellor.
Okay, no problem, bro. You didn't say who. You said
You keep interrupting me.
We're having a dialogue, bro, because I'm trying to dialogue on what you're saying.
Zero,
you don't want any pushback.
You have zero impulse.
You don't want any pushback. It's not about impulse control.
You're a grown man. You're probably like 20 years older than I am.
Don't worry about all that. What you're saying doesn't make sense.
I need you to relax a little bit and calm down so I can finish what I have to say.
I'm calm.
Well, then let me finish what I have to say.
That little tactic doesn't work, though.
You
brought up the fact. I was in the middle of what I was saying. You cut me off. You got to saying. You just got to saying that they were told go back to their own land.
We can't hear
You said that, Ron.
Thank you.
So maybe the moderator can check you because I'm trying. You're interrupting me, bro. So what I'm trying to do is you just, I'm taking what you said again. You just got through saying, earlier you talked about LA and Nevada. Right now you just got through saying that their argument is, based on what the other brother was saying, Crisis, you said that the Europeans told them go back to their land. Is what Crisis was bringing up. And the whole point was you said go back to your original land. And therefore they didn't just do it on their own, it was the British that said, and then the Ottoman Empire.
That's not actually what I was saying. You were not listening. You were just.
No, that's not what he was saying. I get it. I'm not saying to say that that's what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
Why don't you stop?
Because these are the facts of what happened, bro.
No, that's not what happened.
Some Europeans in 1947, 48, hurts all of that, bro. They went in there and plopped themselves down, bro.
That's false.
Somebody else straighten out what I just said.
Hold on, sweet.
Show me where I was off.
Sweet and Ron, we can't hear both of you at the same time. And it's kind of hard listening to both of y'all talking at the same time. So one person speak, Sweet, finish speaking, and then Ron, you can chime in.
Right. So I would like to hear somebody come in other than Ron and tell me with their scholarship where agreement with what Ron said, that the people in there, he doesn't like the idea of Hitler. Some Europeans told these Jews, not Africans, some Europeans told these Jews, get the hell out of here, go back to wherever the hell you from. We don't like y'all. We'll kill you. Get away from us. So now, hold on. I'm not done yet. Can I just finish the thought?
You did the same thing.
No, I'm not done yet. That's why, so let me build to what I'm telling you. So what I'm telling you is this, because the whole point is them plopping themselves down in a secular way, let Ron tell it. So somebody tell me how the British were not doing exactly what Christ has said about now they're rushing this thing and coming in here saying, okay, we're now, because we can't, the Jews don't have a home over there in Europe somewhere. Europeans don't want them there. So now that led to over the British, who was already very interested with the Ottoman Empire, and they had their own thing going on. They came in there and tried to set this thing up with the Ottoman Empire to do this. Somebody show me where that's what I just said is wrong.
All right, so during World War II, Hitler made many overtures to Western countries, Canada, America, European countries, all of them. Come get these people. You don't want us to kill them? No problem. Get them. We don't want them in our country anymore. Come get them. And not a single one of them agreed to take on the Jewish population. Not a single. In all these countries, the Jewish communities in Russia, the Jewish communities in UK, America, all came together on their own, realized that countries that we're in don't want us here. We don't have a place that will take us when we're being persecuted. We don't have a homeland. So they came together and pressured the various countries, the victors of World War II, that we want our homeland. None of you were reliable avenues for us to escape persecution. All of you refused. That's all the Europeans refused.
So can I?
Yeah, and Americans too. And the
Americans in America, by the way. America is in
America too. They all refused to take them. If they had taken them, they wouldn't be a Holocaust. But
can I please?
This is the reality. That's not the Middle East.
There's the history has been distorted, and it seems that some people want to start at 1948. Some people don't know that Theodore Herzl and Hitler were not at the same time. They had no connection to each other, other than they probably spoke German. Both probably spoke German.
Make that make sense. Why are you talking about this? Go ahead.
Well, because it's the history that you're trying to conflate, and it doesn't make it. Excuse me, let me finish.
We're talking about the British, and this has been since the 1800s, so it's not.
Yeah, so there are already Jews since the early 1800s making migrations from Europe into the Ottoman Empire, right? Throughout the Ottoman Empire, mostly in the land that became the British Mandate of Israel, and then also which became the State of Israel. Already, since the 1400s, actually, you find migrations of Jews post the Spanish Inquisition living in the areas, living in places like Sfat, their current day Sfat, and Jerusalem, and Haifa, places like this. So, and Tiberias, right? So the issue is that there were these empire places before modern states. America and France are two of the most modern states that we have in history, because otherwise we had these empires which were just land masses that were controlled by kings and kingdoms. And that was only 100-something years ago, right? So you had the British Empire, which controlled a vast variety of states and spaces throughout the world. You had the Ottoman Empire, which controlled most of what we call the Middle East today, right? Not just where Turkey is, which is
this has been destroyed.
Let him land. Somebody's going to tie this together somehow. Let it get there. I don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So you had the Ottoman Empire, which was controlled by Turkey, or the head of Turkey, right, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. And then the British came and broke up the Ottoman Empire because they were enemies, they were a threat to one another. That was World War I. After World War I, before World War I, and there are already Jews living in those spaces, they already planned to go to the Sultan to declare themselves a sovereign state within the Ottoman Empire, what later became the British Mandate of Palestine. Once the British once the British took control over the Ottoman Empire, and the British were creating nation states out of the Ottoman Empire, which includes modern day Egypt, modern day Libya, Syria. They created modern day Iraq and modern day Iran, and also Pakistan. They created all of these states, and then they created them, and also Jordan, I should say. And Jordan, which the area was called Transjordan, or the British Mandate of Palestine, Transjordan.
Yeah.
And the British Mandate of Palestine and Jordan, right? They created Jordan as a state, and they were creating Palestine as a state, and also they had a promise to create the state of Israel. And the Jews that were there, they purchased the land that they wanted to become the state. And then across the next 40 years, there were some conflicts, so the British divided the land into two parts.
Hold on. Nobody's going to get enough time. Ron, just for clarification, are you still in World War I, or are you in World War II?
I haven't gotten up to World War II yet.
Okay, we're still in World War I, is what you're saying. All
right,
no,
we're past we're between World War I and World War II. World War I ended in 19.
As long as I can get as much time to refute all this he's saying, which I know I won't.
World War I happened in 1917. World War II ended in 1937, 40 something. So 44, I think.
No.
It just,
it wasn't 44.
Just let me.
Just let him put it all out there, and then he's going to cut off anybody that after 10 seconds when they try to refute all that he's allowed to just go ahead and say.
Ron, make sure you mention Thomas Lawrence.
And mention the Ottoman Empire.
Make sure you mention Thomas Lawrence when you're talking about World War I, because if you don't mention Thomas Lawrence, then I'm not going to lie to you, it sounds like a disingenuous.
But what do you have to say about Thomas Lawrence? You tell me about Thomas.
Thomas Lawrence is one of the people who was able to galvanize the local population to fight against the Ottoman Empire during the latter half of World War I. Thomas Lawrence is also the person who they based the character Lawrence of Arabia after. In his memoirs, he describes the local population, which today we would call Palestinians. He described them as some of the most courageous people that he had ever met, because they didn't have any type of mechanized weaponry. They were dealing with the most weapons that you could have at the time, but yet because of the fact that he was giving them an understanding that if they fought for that land, it could become their own, they were willing to fight. And they started reneging on that. That started to cause a lot of strife. So now when we take it to the further part going forward, what I mentioned earlier about prophecy manufactured, aka creating a state of Israel instead of God giving them one, versus prophecy manifested, that's when we start to get into that part of the conversation. So as you're describing what you're describing, I just want you to make sure that that's why I asked you, are you still in World War I or are you in World War II?
So you're talking about Sir Thomas Lawrence, right?